friendly highland community where the air is fresh, the mountains are beautiful, and creeping shadows howl in the streets while we lie in bed and pretend to sleep. Welcome to Hogsmeade. Before reading out the mandatory ministry notice, I'd like to draw everyone's attention to the beautiful sunrise that early risers witnessed today. The sun came up unexpectedly, almost 3 hours ahead of the usual time. It filled the air with the most wondrous noise, as though 100 sirens were singing in our beautiful little valley. The clouds that descended from the skies had filled our streets and presented to us the most beautiful visions, and although anyone that ventured into them has not returned as of this moment, we should still hope that they will eventually return. After all, hope is all that we can have for free, when everything else comes with a price tag attached. Now, the ministry would like to notify you, citizens of Hogsmeade, that all pet dragons are to be re-registered, as the old records have been burned down in a complete accident. The accident has nothing to do with an escaped Norwegian Ridgeback, because there is no escaped Norwegian Ridgeback loose in our peaceful little community. However, any sightings of large, black-winged, lizard-like beings should be reported to the nearest Auror. The lizard will not harm you. It will not burn you. It will not bite, maim, poison, dismember, or kill you, the ministry official that told me all this insisted. The ministry would also like to notify you that the Nocturne Alley sinkhole has returned, and all citizens should remember to keep their distance from it unless they wish to take an unplanned journey from which they shall never return. Do not approach the sinkhole. Do not investigate the sinkhole. Do not throw your things, pets, or relatives into the sinkhole. The sinkhole will not harm you if you do not approach the sinkhole. Personally, I would advise people not to approach the sinkhole on principle, as sinkholes are extremely untrustworthy and highly dangerous no matter their origin. In other news, Mr. Remus Lupin, who is currently not a werewolf, has stated that there appears to be an increase in the number of Dementors in Azkaban Park. He says that the temperature has dropped another few degrees and that the Black Lake has cooled by 1 degree. Mr. Lupin believes that it is unlikely that the Dementors will harm visitors to the park if visitors do not feed the Dementors. As he is the primary expert on Dementors outside the ministry, I would urge you, citizens of Hogsmeade, to take his advice. Do not feed the Dementors. Oh! A ministry official has appeared inside my recording booth with a note and has disappeared after giving the note to me. Now, let's see. The ministry would like to remind you about what you should know about Dementors. The reminder is that you should know nothing about Dementors, as they do not exist. They are certainly not in the Azkaban Park, the park that no one is allowed to enter. The ministry says that no one is allowed to educate themselves about Dementors. No one is allowed to believe in Dementors, as they are not real. Azkaban Park is a forbidden area and must not be thought about. The park will not harm you. There are strangers in our town, citizens of Hogsmeade. They have come to the village in a car after sunrise. What do they want? Who are they? With their strange clothes, with their lack of cloaks, and their strangely grim expressions, they are certainly strangers to our little town. They say they are here on vacation. We have all, of course, been on vacations, but we have never left our town for vacations. We have all satisfactorily vacationed here in our little town. Why have they left their towns? Where are their towns? Are they actually here for a vacation? How can we know? How can we know anything? What right do we have to know anything about our inscrutable, infinitely complex universe? I often ask myself, Luna, how do you know that you know something? How are you aware of the knowledge? How are you even aware of yourself? What is you, Luna? I cannot answer that question. I cannot answer any question. All I can do is speak into the void and hope it does not listen back, or respond in any fashion whatsoever. I will report on the situation with the strangers as it develops. The Nargle population in the library is rising again, says Armorpinth. She says that they are hiding in the books and that all the books that are taken out has to be checked carefully, or you may spread the infestation to your house. However, as no one has been able to enter the library since July, that may not be an issue that anyone needs to concern themselves with. Wand maker Alavander would like to inform everyone that all wands with unicorn hairs are not to be used next Tuesday due to the approaching eclipse. He would also like everyone to remember to take care of their wands, as he does not appreciate replacing them. He seemed quite insistent on that last point, almost crying in front of the studio door out of frustration. I would urge you to listen to him, citizens. He seemed quite desperate. Quite desperate. He had lightning sparkling in his hair, and his eyes were flashing quite fearsomely. The experts were unusually afraid of him, and he even left the station. Now, let us take a moment to think about safety. Parents, when you let your children play outside, please make sure that they are dressed appropriately for the weather. Make sure that they are prepared for a possible kidnapping. Remember to watch the skies for birds. Here are some tips for bird identification. Red and gold and on fire? They are phoenixes, and all your children are quite safe, although they will be unusually cheerful for the next week. Multicolored and very bright? Please evacuate your children. They are foopers, and their song causes insanity. Any sightings are to be reported to the Aurors. Very large? Then everything's fine. Rocks hardly ever take children, although your pets may be in danger. Various sizes, dark and losing feathers at an unusual rate? Do not play in that area. Lock yourselves in your homes and prepare to ignite infernos that will devour everything, including your immortal souls. Ignore all screams, keep yourselves safe, and wait for the Aurors to leave blood-ruined sigils on your windows to signify that it is once again safe to leave your homes. The Hogwarts Lions Quidditch team practice was interrupted today by the appearance of several Muggle helicopters, which were promptly eaten by the keeper. The practice was not severely disrupted, as the players had not even been aware of the incident until after the practice ended. It is unknown how the helicopters appeared in the stadium, and whether eating them will affect Oliver, requiring the team to use a different dragon in the game against the Snakes, the Quidditch team of our rivals town school, Durmstrang. There are strong suspicions that it was them that attempted to sabotage the practice. They're always trying to prove their superiority through more creative mascot displays, prettier uniforms, fancier brooms, and better weather on the day of the games, and possibly by trying to poison our best keeper during practice. Be ashamed of yourselves, students of Durmstrang. Be ashamed of your cowardly tactics and lack of guts, which prevent you from facing our team head-on. The Dark Magic Society warns citizens not to let any strange children inside your home at night. The Society says that they are not children. They say that they are not alive. They say that letting them in will result in dreadful consequences for those who let them in. The DMS says to ignore the scratching at the windows, the gurgling screams, and the ominous chanting in the night. Additionally, all black cats are to be turned into the Ministry's Department of Control for Magical Creatures to check that they are, indeed, cats. A report on the traffic situation. Due to the recent plague of rats, all roads are still closed. There is no traffic. There has been a press release from the Daily Prophet today. Rita Skeeter, the owner of the Daily Prophet, stated that they have started publishing a new magazine, The Black Cat, to discuss the most relevant problems of today. New issues will be released every Octaday, which, as we all know, happens on the 8th day of the week, every second week. The magazines will be sold in the Prophet's new newspaper stall at number 12 Grimmauld Place. When the reporters questioned Rita Skeeter about the fact that no such house exists, her eyes glazed over. Then she turned into a small beetle and flew away. An update about the strangers that arrived into our town today. Their names are now known to the public. The black-haired man is Harry Potter. The ginger man is Ron Weasley, and the woman with the beautiful bushy hair and the dark and beautiful brown eyes is Hermione Granger. Oh, that hair, that gorgeous, wild, beautiful mane of hair. We all love it and adore it and hate it in equal measure, for it is the most beautiful hair, and the owner is the most perfect and beautiful person I have ever seen. The three of them will be staying at the Leaky Cauldron, which, as we all know, is the best place to stay in Hogsmeade when you have no home of your own. They have not revealed any secret motives for their visit, and when reporters had tried to question them, the three simply stared at them with dead eyes, fingering their wands. And now for a brief public service announcement. Nemean lions. Are they native to our town? No. Can they kill your children? Yes. Should you be afraid of them? Yes. This has been a public service announcement. Remember Mr. Remus Lupin, the one who is most certainly not a werewolf? He came by earlier with a bar of chocolate. It was good chocolate, I have to say. Mr. Lupin has good taste in chocolate. He said it will help fight off the effect of the Dementor's aura if you fall under its influence. He asked me to pass on that advice to you, listeners, in case Dementors ever attack. Of course, as Dementors do not exist, we do not have to be afraid of them. The Diagon Alley Business Coalition would like to announce that there is recently renovated the old shop down on the street to the right of the Leaky Cauldron, and that the new Gladeg's meat store will surely be a raging success. I have been there myself, and I must say the selection of meat looks delightful. And now a message from our sponsors. Eyes. Eyes look. They look and stare and observe. Eyes are colorful. Eyes are beautiful. Eyes are useful. Eyes, eyes, eyes. Look at them, look and observe. Let them to what they are created for. Let them look upon the world and consume it. This message was brought to you by Flourish and Bots. Now, as you settle down to lie in bed with your eyes open, listening to the howls of the moving shadows, remember your family. Remember your friends. Remember those happy days of your childhood, if you had one. It will be a dark night tonight, with clear skies open to the dark and endless void. Good night, listeners. Good night. Today's proverb: do not tickle a sleeping dragon.